What if I told you that you can lose up to 9 kilos without changing what you eat, just by changing when you eat it? I know what you are thinking right now. Doctor, that sounds too easy. There must be a trick. And yes, there is a trick, but it is not the one the diet industry wants you to know. Because if you knew it, you would never need to buy another supplement, another girdle, another weight loss program that promises everything and delivers little. The trick is to understand something that conventional medicine took decades to admit. Your body is not a calorie calculator. Your body is a biological clock of extraordinary precision. Think about it for a moment. For years, they told us that the secret to losing weight was simple. Consume fewer calories than you burn, eat less, move more. It sounds logical, right? But then why do so many people who eat little, who diet, who count every gram of what they ingest, still fail to lose that belly fat? Why can you have tried that for months and the result was zero or even worse than before? Why is that equation incomplete? Because there is a variable that no one taught you to consider, the variable of time. I am not referring to how long you diet. I am referring to at what moment of the day you eat each food. That changes absolutely everything that happens inside your body. And in the next few minutes, I am going to show you the science behind this. A science that is not new, but that the world of mainstream health has ignored for too long. Imagine you have a factory that works in shifts. During the day, the production shift is active. The machines work at maximum capacity. The workers are alert. Everything that enters is processed efficiently, but from a certain hour, the maintenance shift begins. The machines shut down. The workers dedicate themselves to repairing and cleaning, not to producing. Now, what happens if in the middle of the maintenance shift, someone arrives with a truck loaded with materials and unloads them on the production floor? No one is going to process them. No one is going to transform them. They are simply going to accumulate there, taking up space, generating disorder. That is exactly what happens to your body when you eat at the wrong time. And the belly fat, that abdominal fat that bothers you so much, that worries you so much, that resists so much the efforts of any traditional diet. That particular fat is the deposit where your body stores everything it could not process in the correct shift. It is the visible evidence that the internal clock of your metabolism is out of sync. But here is the good news, and it is the reason why this video can change something real in your life. That clock can be retuned without medications, without surgeries, without going hungry, and without spending a single extra peso at the pharmacy. Today, I am going to share with you 7 tricks backed by real science, published studies, research that you can verify, that act directly on that biological clock so that your body burns fat again in the way it was designed to do it. The 7 tricks are simple, they are cheap, and most of them you can start applying tonight. But before getting to number 1, I need you to stay with me until the end, because trick number 1 is the one that is going to surprise you the most. It is not an herb, it is not an extreme fast, it is something you probably do every day, but in the wrong way. A study compared 2 groups of people who ate exactly the same calories, the same foods, during the same period of time. The only difference was when they concentrated their largest meal during the day. The results were so different that the researchers themselves were shocked. One group lost weight significantly, the other almost nothing. Same calories, completely opposite results. That is what chronobiology, which is the science of biological time, has to teach us. And that is what we are going to explore together today. If you are over 50 years old and you feel that your body no longer responds as before, that your belly grew without you eating more, that your energy dropped and that diet stopped working, I want you to know something important. It is not your fault. Your body is not broken. Your body is disoriented. And there is a huge difference between the two things. A broken body has no solution. A disoriented body only needs the correct signals to get back on track. And those signals are exactly what we are going to see now. There is a word I want you to remember from today, chronobiology. Do not worry if you had never heard it before. In a few minutes, you are going to understand why it is possibly the most important concept that no one taught you about your own body. Chronobiology is the science that studies the biological rhythms of the organism. And what this science discovered in recent decades is something that completely changes the way we understand weight, fat, and metabolism. Every organ in your body has its own internal clock. The liver has a clock, the pancreas has a clock, the intestine has a clock. And what most surprised scientists when they delved into this area is that even fat has a clock. The fat cells, those that form the belly that we want to eliminate so much, also operate following a 24-hour cycle. They have moments when they are programmed to release energy and moments when they are programmed to store it. And if you eat at the wrong time, you are sending exactly the wrong signal to those cells. Think of it as a symphony orchestra. Each musician has their score, their entrance, their exact moment to play. When everyone respects that order, the result is perfect, harmonious, powerful music. But if the violinist enters early, if the pianist plays when they should be silent, the whole concert goes out of tune. Not because the musicians are bad, but because the timing was wrong. Your metabolism works exactly the same. It is not broken, it is just out of tune. And now comes the fact I want you to record in your memory, because the next time someone tells you that a calorie is a calorie, no matter when you eat it, you will have the scientific answer to contradict them. A study published by researchers at Harvard University analyzed how the body processes sugar at different times of the day. The result was shocking. Eating a bowl of oatmeal, the one everyone considers healthy, at 10 at night can raise blood sugar as much as eating a sugary cereal at 8 in the morning. The same food, the same body, completely different results, just because of the time it was consumed. Why does this happen? Because from nightfall, the body's insulin sensitivity drops drastically. Insulin is the hormone in charge of opening the doors of the cells so that sugar can enter and be used as energy. During the day, those doors open easily. At night, the doors are almost closed. So the sugar that does not enter the cells stays circulating in the blood and ends up being converted into fat, specifically abdominal fat, because that is the fastest way the body has to store what it could not process. This is not an opinion. It is basic human physiology that for some reason did not reach the consultations or the conventional nutrition advice. But there is something more, and this involves a character that few associate with body weight: the bacteria in the intestine. The intestinal microbiome, that ecosystem of billions of microorganisms that live in your digestive system, also has its own circadian rhythm. A scientific experiment that involved microbiota transplantation between mice demonstrated something fascinating and disturbing at the same time. When the microbiota from mice with jet lag, with the biological clock deregulated by eating without fixed schedules, was transplanted into healthy mice. Those healthy mice began to gain weight without eating more, without changing their diet, just by receiving the bacteria from a chronologically disordered body. That means that the deregulation of schedules does not only affect your organs, it affects your microbiome. And a confused microbiome contributes directly to weight gain and the accumulation of abdominal fat. How many people you know, including perhaps yourself, eat at different times each day? One day they have breakfast early, another day they skip breakfast, they have dinner sometimes at 7, sometimes at 10 at night. That irregularity is not just a careless habit, it is a signal of chaos that your body receives every day and to which it responds by storing fat as a protection mechanism. Now that you understand the mechanism, that you know why the body accumulates fat when the internal clock gets out of tune, it is time to talk about the solutions. And we are going to start with those that act precisely during the hours when you are sleeping, because the night well used can become your most powerful ally to burn fat without doing absolutely anything. We are going to begin with the 3 tricks that prepare your body to burn fat even while you sleep. And the first one is so simple that when you hear it, you may think I am exaggerating its importance. I promise you I am not. Trick number 7, regularity in meal times. It is not about eating less. It is not about eliminating food groups. It is about always eating within the same time windows every day. If today you have breakfast at 8 in the morning, tomorrow also. If today you have lunch at 1, let it be like that every day. That predictability gives your digestive system something it deeply needs: certainty. When schedules are chaotic, the body enters emergency mode. It does not know when the next meal will arrive, so it stores everything it can as a reserve. That survival instinct that saved us during thousands of years of evolution is today, in the modern world, one of the main responsible for the abdominal fat that does not yield. Regularity turns off that emergency mode. It tells the body you can trust the food is going to arrive on time. And when the body trusts, it stops accumulating. Trick number 6, natural light in the morning. Inside your brain, there exists what scientists call the master clock. It is a small structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and its function is to coordinate all the other clocks in the body, those of the liver, the pancreas, the intestine, all of them. And that master clock synchronizes mainly with one signal, the natural light of the sun. When you expose yourself to sunlight in the first 30 minutes after waking up, you are sending the master clock the clearest and most powerful signal that exists. The day has begun. From that moment, all the systems of the body align correctly. The metabolism activates, the hormones order themselves. Studies have directly associated this habit with a lower percentage of body fat in older adults. And on the contrary, intense artificial light after 8 at night does exactly the opposite. It blocks the production of melatonin, the hormone that not only helps you sleep, but also activates fat burning during sleep hours. Reducing exposure to screens and strong lights at night is literally turning on nocturnal metabolism. Trick number 5, 2 pistachios before bed. Eating 2 pistachios, just 2, between 1 and 2 hours before going to bed, can raise the natural levels of melatonin in the body. The pistachio is one of the foods with the highest natural concentration of this hormone. It does not work like a sleeping pill. It works like a gentle and precise signal that tells the body that the day is over, that it can relax, that it is time to repair tissues, balance hormones, and burn the fat accumulated during the day. They are 3 tricks that cost almost nothing. Regularity in schedules, light in the morning, and 2 pistachios at night. But together they form the perfect environment for the next tricks, the ones that come directly from your kitchen, to act with all their strength. So far, we have talked about synchronizing your biological clock from the outside with light, with schedules, with signals that tell the body at what moment of the day it is. Now we are going to talk about what you can put directly on your plate to accelerate fat burning from the inside. And the best thing is that these 3 ingredients are probably already available near where you live, and none of them costs a fortune. Trick number 4, the master spices. Cumin, turmeric, and black cumin are not just flavor. They are medicine with centuries of history and increasingly modern science that supports them. Turmeric contains a compound called curcumin that activates anti-inflammatory metabolic pathways in the body. Silent chronic inflammation, the one that does not hurt but is there, is one of the main factors that block the loss of abdominal fat in people over 50 years old. Reducing it is not a cosmetic detail. It is a necessary condition for metabolism to work well. Black cumin, for its part, was studied specifically in relation to abdominal fat. The results showed measurable reduction both in waist circumference and in the appetite of the participants. Seasoning your food well is not a luxury or an eccentricity. It is a metabolic decision that you can make at every meal without additional effort. Trick number 3, ground flaxseed. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed per day, not whole. Ground. When flaxseed is whole, the body cannot take advantage of its most valuable components, and it passes without being absorbed. Ground, it acts like a sponge inside the intestine, absorbs water, increases the volume of the digestive content, and generates a feeling of satiety that lasts for hours. The practical result is that throughout the day, you eat less naturally without having to fight hunger with willpower. Some studies have called this effect negative calories, not because flaxseed removes calories from food, but because it consistently reduces the total amount ingested during the day. Trick number 2, the cheapest and most powerful liquid that exists. Apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon diluted in a glass of warm water taken before the main meal. Studies conducted with humans, not just with animals, demonstrated that this habit can reduce visceral fat, which is the deep fat that surrounds the internal organs, and that is directly related to cardiovascular risk, and it can also reduce insulin spikes after meals. Always diluted, never pure, because concentrated acid can irritate the esophagus. Diluted in water or mixed in the salad, it is one of the most economical and effective allies that nutritional science has studied in recent years. 3 ingredients, 3 simple decisions that you can make starting tomorrow. But the trick that comes now, number 1, is the one with the most overwhelming scientific backing of all, and I guarantee you that it is going to change the way you see your plate every morning. We have reached trick number 1, and to understand it well, I want you to imagine this scenario. 2 groups of people, same foods, same total calories, same period of time. The only difference between the 2 groups was when they concentrated their most important meal during the day. The first group made breakfast their most abundant meal and arrived at night with a light dinner. The second group did exactly the opposite. They had a light breakfast and a heavy dinner, as most people do in the modern world. The results of the study were so clear that they left no room for interpretation. The group that ate more in the morning lost significantly more weight, reduced their triglyceride levels, and showed better blood sugar control. The group that had a heavy dinner, despite having consumed exactly the same calories, lost much less. In some cases, almost nothing. Same calories, completely opposite results. This confirms everything we have talked about in this video. The body does not process energy in the same way at 8 in the morning as at 8 at night. During daylight hours, metabolism is at its highest point. Insulin sensitivity is maximum. Digestive enzymes work with full efficiency. Everything you eat at that moment has a much greater probability of being used as energy. At night, that same food has a much greater probability of ending up stored as abdominal fat. That is why trick number 1 is not a supplement. It is not an exotic herb. It is not an extreme fast. It is simply this principle. Eat like a king at breakfast, like a prince at lunch, and like a beggar at dinner. I am not saying to eliminate dinner. I am saying to reduce it. A light dinner is not a sacrifice. It is a gesture of respect toward your own body, a clear signal that you understand its rhythm and you are willing to accompany it. And when the body receives that signal consistently, it responds, the belly fat begins to yield. Not from one day to the next, but in a progressive and sustained way. Now let us do a quick review of the 7 tricks we saw today, because I want you to leave here with everything clear. Trick number 7. Maintain regular meal times every day so that your digestive system has predictability and stops accumulating fat out of fear. Trick number 6, expose yourself to natural light in the first 30 minutes of the morning to synchronize the master clock of your body and activate metabolism from the beginning of the day. Trick number 5, 2 pistachios between 1 and 2 hours before sleeping to raise natural melatonin and activate nocturnal fat burning. Trick number 4, season your meals with turmeric, cumin, and black cumin to reduce silent inflammation and activate metabolic pathways that favor fat loss. Trick number 3, 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed per day to increase satiety naturally and reduce the total amount of calories ingested without effort. Trick number 2, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water before your main meal to reduce visceral fat and control insulin spikes. And trick number 1, turn breakfast into your most important meal of the day and arrive at night with a light dinner, because the moment you eat matters as much as what you eat. 7 changes. None of them requires you to spend a fortune. None requires you to go hungry. None requires you to abandon the foods you love. They only require you to start listening to the language your body has been speaking for decades and that no one taught you to understand. If you are over 50 years old and you feel that your body is no longer the same as before, I want you to remember something. The years are not a sentence. They are accumulated experience. And a body with experience, when it receives the correct signals, has a capacity for recovery that surprises even science. I have seen people of 70 years old reverse conditions that doctors considered permanent simply because they decided to work in favor of their biology instead of against it. Your body is not broken. It was never broken. It just needed someone to explain to it how its clock works. Start today. Start with just one of these tricks if necessary. Tomorrow, add another. Consistency always beats perfection. And if this video opened your eyes to something new, I ask you to share it with someone who also needs it, because this information deserves to reach more people. We will see each other in the next video.